right, so we're going to approximate the integral from 3 to infinity of negative 1/3 to the x. Well, let's think about this graph. So 1/3 to the x is an exponential decay graph that's then reflected over the x-axis. So if I make a quick sketch of that, I'm going to have a function that looks something like this. And I know I'm starting at x equals 3, but I'm just going to draw it in. So here's my function. At 0, I get -1. I should have crossed my axes. Something like this. So at x equals 3, this is the area that I want, going all the way towards my asymptote, etc. I know it's going to be a negative value, that integral. And let's look at what I could approximate this with. So if I think about turning this into a sum, I know this is an increasing function, so this can be approximated by taking my sum from k equals 3 to infinity of -1/3 x. That's going to be less than my integral. And it's going to be less than my sum from k equals 4 to infinity of -1/3 to the x. Well, if I think about this, when I start at k equals 3 and take that rectangle, this is what I have. That first value is going to be -1/3, well, 1/3 cubed, and then the negative of that. I'm going to subtract 1/3 to the 4th, 1/3 to the 5th, etc. This one, I've got 1/3 to the 4th, 1/3 to the 5th. Notice I don't even really need the parentheses because it's the power. The power is applying to the fraction, not the negative sign. So this sum is going to be greater than this sum because I'm summing negative values. So by not including this, I have a larger value. Well, both of these are geometric sequences. Both have an r value of 1/3. This one has an initial term of -1/27. This one has an initial term, and we'll call that one v1, of -1/81. My sum to infinity is first term divided by 1 minus r. So that's going to be 2/3, which is going to give me -1/18. This sum to infinity is going to be -1/81 times 2/3. That's going to be 54. -1/54 is greater than -1/18. So what I have determined is that the value of this integral from 3 to infinity of the function is going to be between -1/18 dx and -1/54.